All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. This time, we're lacing up our shoes and grabbing our water bottles because we're diving into the world of sports.
Sounds exciting.
Well, we're not actually hitting the field.
Right.
But we are going to explore how something you might not expect plays a huge role in sports. English.
Huh. Interesting. I'm intrigued.
We've got this podcast script here called English for Coaching and Teamwork in Sports. And believe it or not, it's packed with fascinating stuff about how language can make or break a team.
Oh, I can see that. I mean, communication is everything in sports, right?
Yeah, exactly. Whether you're a coach trying to explain a complex play or teammates trying to coordinate a last-minute strategy. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, I'm curious.
Okay.
Why do you think English is so important in the world of sports? Like, we know it's kind of the global language these days, but what makes it so crucial in this specific context?
Well, you got athletes, coaches, and fans from every corner of the world, right? And they're all coming together for these huge international tournaments, training programs, you name it.
That's true.
So English becomes that common ground, that bridge that allows everyone to understand each other. Imagine trying to explain a game plan to someone who doesn't speak your language. It'd be chaos.
Yeah, I guess it would be like trying to explain the infield fly rule in like Mandarin or something.
Right. Total confusion.
So English is kind of like the universal language of the sports world, huh?
Pretty much. And it's not just about understanding the rules of the game or chatting about the latest scores, though. It's about clear, concise communication, especially in those high-pressure situations.
Makes sense. So we're talking about more than just like being able to order a post-game snack in a foreign country, right?
Exactly. This is about coaches being able to articulate complex strategies, players coordinating plays in the heat of the moment, everyone staying motivated and on the same page.
Right, because you can't just yell, hey, do that thing, and expect your teammate to know what you mean, right?
Nope, not going to cut it. When the game's on the line, those split-second decisions, the need for absolute clarity, well, that's when the precision of language really comes into play.
Okay, so we're talking about more than just basic phrases here. You need to have a specific, what did you call it, a sports lexicon.
You got it. And it's not about sounding fancy. It's about having a command of the essential vocabulary that's specific to coaching and teamwork. Our script highlights terms like warm-up, drill, strategy, feedback.
Okay.
Words that might seem obvious, but when used precisely, they can really eliminate confusion and make sure everyone is on the same wavelength.
Yeah, it's like speaking the same language, both literally and figuratively. But sometimes, even when everyone understands the words, communication can still break down.
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time, even at the professional level. I mean, you can know all the right sports terms, but if you're not using them effectively, well, it's like having a toolbox full of tools, but not knowing how to use them.
Uh-huh. So it's not enough to just know the words. You got to know how to, wield them like a pro to get your message across.
Exactly. And that's where this script gets really interesting. It actually provides a framework for how to use language strategically in all sorts of coaching situations, like how to give instructions clearly, motivate your team, provide constructive feedback, even just build that sense of camaraderie.
Interesting. So it's like having a cheat sheet for communication.
In a way, yeah.
Sign me up. All right, let's take a look at some of those specific phrases and strategies.
So you're ready to open up that playbook of communication strategies.
I am me with your best shot.
Well, the script highlights how important certain phrases are in different coaching situations. Those times when you need to give instructions, fire up the team, or give feedback that really makes a difference.
Right, because I guess there's a big difference between saying something and saying the right thing.
You got it.
So let's walk through a few scenarios, like what kind of phrases does the script recommend for, say, giving instructions during practice?
Okay. Well, think about it from the athlete's perspective. You're out on the field or the court, focused, and you need clear, direct instructions, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So the script recommends phrases like, let's start with a 10-minute warm-up, focusing on dynamic stretches.
Okay.
Or, for this drill, prioritize passing accuracy over speed.
Oh, so it's about being specific and avoiding any kind of ambiguity, huh? Because let's just warm up a bit could mean something different to everyone.
Absolutely. You want to eliminate any guesswork. And when it comes to giving feedback, the script emphasizes striking a balance between positive reinforcement and constructive criticism.
So instead of just saying good job, you'd say something like,
Well, you might say, I've noticed you're really improving your footwork. Now let's work on keeping your eye on the ball during those passes.
So it's about acknowledging their effort, but also giving them specific areas to focus on for improvement.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, feedback isn't just about pointing out mistakes.
Right.
It's about guiding players towards getting better.
Makes sense. But what about those times when the team is feeling down or discouraged? How do you use language to motivate and inspire them, especially when they're facing challenges?
That's where the power of motivational language really comes in.
Okay.
The script recommends using phrases that instill confidence, emphasize teamwork, and remind players of their potential. For instance, instead of just a generic "let's go team," you might say.
What? Something more inspiring.
Right. Maybe remember why we're here, we've put in the work, and we're capable of anything if we support each other.
Ooh, that's a good one. So you're not just cheering them on, you're really tapping into their inner drive and that sense of shared purpose.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting? The script goes beyond just providing a list of phrases.
Yeah.
It talks about how important it is to be authentic.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's not about mimicking some motivational speaker. It's about finding your own voice as a coach and connecting with your team in a genuine way.
I like that.
Yeah.
So be real. Don't just recite lines from a script. But I'm sure there are times when even the most carefully chosen words might not be enough. What about coaching a team with players from different backgrounds who speak different languages? How do you bridge that communication gap?
That's a fantastic question, and it's something a lot of coaches face in today's world. And the script actually touches on this. It encourages coaches to think beyond just words.
Oh, okay. So like what?
Well, it suggests using a more multifaceted approach to communication, incorporating things like visual aids, demonstrations, even body language.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because sometimes, a simple gesture or a demonstration can speak volumes.
Yeah, I've seen that in action. Remember that documentary about that soccer coach who worked with players from all over the world?
Yeah.
He'd use hand signals and even draw formations on the ground with his foot to explain his strategies.
Exactly. He understood that communication isn't just about speaking the same language. It's about finding creative ways to get everyone on the same page, even when there are linguistic or cultural barriers.
Yeah, that's so important. And I bet that also means active listening is key, right? Because even with visuals and demonstrations, you need to pay attention to how your players are responding and adjust accordingly.
Absolutely. Active listening is crucial. You got to be attuned to those nonverbal cues, Pick up on any signs of confusion or misunderstanding and be ready to adjust your style based on what you're seeing and hearing.
So it's about creating this feedback loop.
Right.
You're not just sending out information, you're receiving it, processing it, and tweaking your approach as you go.
Precisely. And sometimes you might even ask bilingual players to step in and translate or clarify instructions for their teammates. It's about fostering an inclusive and supportive environment where everyone feels valued and understood.
I love that. It's like leveraging the team's collective knowledge and skills to break down those communication barriers. Kind of like that old saying, 2 heads are better than one. Yeah. But in this case, it's more like many voices make for a stronger team.
That's a brilliant way to put it. And you know what's really fascinating to me is that the script goes beyond just the practical side of communication. It dives into the psychology of coaching, too.
The psychology of coaching.
Yeah, it talks about the importance of building trust, creating a positive team culture, understanding the individual needs of each player.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. Okay, so we've covered the nuts and bolts of communication, the vocabulary, the phrases, the strategies. But now you're saying there's this whole psychological aspect to it.
Yeah, like a whole other level of the game.
Color me intrigued. I want to hear more about this.
Well, the script really emphasizes how a great coach understands that communication isn't just about giving information. It's about building those relationships, creating a team culture that's positive and supportive, and, really setting up an environment where players can thrive.
So it's about more than just the X's and O's. We're getting into the human side of things.
Exactly. Think about the best coaches you've ever seen or worked with.
Yeah.
They're the ones who connect with their players on a deeper level, right?
Right.
The ones who inspire that trust and respect, who build a sense of camaraderie, a sense of shared purpose.
I've played for coaches who could draw these amazing plays, but they just couldn't connect with the team on a human level. And honestly, it always showed in how we played.
That makes sense. And the script actually talks about this. It emphasizes the importance of being able to understand each player as an individual recognizing that everybody learns differently, they respond to feedback in different ways, they even have different things that motivate them.
So it's about being more than just a one-size-fits-all kind of coach
Yeah.
and really tailoring your approach to each individual player.
Exactly. It's about observation, being empathetic, and most importantly, being willing to adjust how you communicate based on what you're picking up on.
Makes sense.
I mean, some players might respond really well to direct, assertive feedback, but others might need a gentler, more encouraging approach, right?
Right. It's like if you're trying to motivate a player who's struggling with their confidence, you wouldn't use the same language that you'd use with someone who's already performing at a high level.
You got it. And the script highlights active listening as such a crucial skill for any coach who wants to really understand their players. It's about being present in conversations, asking those thoughtful questions, paying attention to both what's being said and what's not being said.
So it's about being more than just a talker.
Right.
You got to be a good listener, too.
Yeah.
But that must be hard, especially in the middle of a big game or a really intense practice.
It definitely takes practice. You have to be intentional about it, but the payoff is huge. When players feel like their coach genuinely cares, it builds that trust, that loyalty, that shared sense of purpose.
And that translates to better performance on the field. But I'm also thinking about how all of this applies to way more than just sports, right? I mean, these communication skills are valuable in any situation where people are working together, like in a job or a community group, even with family.
Absolutely. These principles of communication, leadership, just understanding how people work, they're all transferable to so many different areas of life.
It's pretty cool how this script that's all about sports can have such wide-reaching applications.
Yeah, it is. It's like a masterclass in human interaction disguised as a sports lesson. And I think that's a big takeaway from today.
Okay.
Whether you're a coach, an athlete, a team leader, or just someone who wants to improve their communication, understanding how powerful language can be, especially when you're working with a team, can really make a difference in how successful and how fulfilled you are.
It's like you're cracking the code to better relationships, better teamwork, and, just better results in whatever you're passionate about. Wow, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive. Thanks for sharing all these insights.
It's been my pleasure. It's amazing what we can learn from a simple script.
Absolutely. And for all our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought about how you can use the power of language to connect, inspire, and achieve amazing things. Until next time, keep those communication skills sharp.